한국어를 공부하고 싶어요? 아니면 한국어를 말하고 싶어요? This video is for you. 안녕하세요, 테니입니다. In today's video, I'm talking about tips for learning Korean as a beginner, and these things are going to help you so that you will not have a tough time. The first thing we should first tackle, and we should get it off our list, is to learn hangul. You really need to learn hangul. I know it looks good, and also we understand it more better by reading the romanization, but at this point you really need to start saying things out loud without relying on the romanization, because it's not going to really help you to have the native accent, but rather it will help you have more of an English accent. You also need to invest time in knowing the different pronunciation. For example, the word kachi, you can obviously say kachi, but if you don't know the correct pronunciation, you call it kati, whereas it's not correct. While learning Korean, there's also a change in pakchi, the final consonant. There's also double consonant. There are the ones that you ought to pronounce and the ones they're not supposed to pronounce. And with you learning hangul and you knowing these basic rules, it makes it easier for you. Someone I truly love so much is Hailey, your Korean friend. So someone I learned Korean with, and it was very helpful for me. It made my Korean learning journey a lot more easier. Second one is to learn vocabularies that are relevant to you. I know this is very tempting, that you want to learn everything all over the place, you want to go everywhere, but you really don't need them at this moment. As a beginner, especially if you're a student, the main thing you should focus on are things like classroom, the teacher, the school, my bag, my books, my everything. All these things are the ones you should focus on, rather than you learning things like medical procedures. The reason why I said you should learn vocabulary is relevant to you is because it makes things easier for you and you're able to express yourself more. For example, if you're a student, you can say something like, I woke up this morning, I woke up 6 a.m. and I brushed my teeth, I went to school, I took the exam and it went well, or it did not go well, or anything like that. And it's very easy for you to construct sentences like that. But if you are to just go in depth and be like, I woke up in the morning and I started the surgery and I started cutting, you don't need those words at the moment. You just need to focus on things that you actually talk about in real life. Even though you talk about them in real life, you need to focus on the simple things first before looking out for the hard ones or for the ones that really don't need. Just keep them there at the moment. Then when you truly need them, then you can now go and start using them. If you want to know how I study vocabularies and how I remember them for a very long time, there is a video in the description box that will help you on how I do that and how I actually remember the things I learned. Third one, build your grammar. I cannot even say this enough. Whatever you're studying with, be it Talk to Me in Korean podcast or howtostudykorean.com or Korean one-on-one, as you're going through the grammar lessons and you're going through the podcast and everything, make sure that you're making your own sentences. And there's a way I like to do this one. Let's say, for example, I want to say something like, I went to school today. 오늘은 학교에 갔어요. I went to school today. But I can change it to, I went to the bookstore today. 오늘은 서점에 갔어요. And if I want to make something much more complex, I can say something like, I went to school at 3 a.m. That's not possible. 오늘은 3시에 학교에 갔어요. Or I went to the hospital. You can just say 병원, 아니면 도서관, 아니면 서점, 아니면 마트에 갔어요. And the main reason why you should make your own sentences is that you kind of know whether you truly understood what you learned or not. It makes you think deeper and also makes you think of other things you can use, how you can conjugate this certain verb to be in the present tense or to be in the past tense, how you can use this certain grammar point in this situation or in any other situation. Fourth tip I'm going to give to you is to read your own sentences. Whenever I'm learning French, I'm always shy to pronounce those sentences out loud or to say those words out loud because I don't know, I'm not shy. But if you pronounce those sentences that you make, your brain kind of know how this word sounds, so that even when you hear it on autopilot, your brain knows what exactly the other person is saying. It helps me to know the correct way or the correct pronunciation, so when I hear it next time, I can know what exactly the other person is saying. Fifth tip for you is to practice your listening. Do not overlook this one. I know you might be okay, I want to listen to K-drama, I want to watch K-drama, I want to listen to K-pop, or I want to do anything KKKK, but this is where the thing is. You're not actually learning anything because you don't know enough grammar points or you don't know enough vocabulary for you to understand what exactly they are saying. And these songs or these movies are actually for native speakers, and that's why they can actually watch the movie even without the translation. But for you, the only thing you can get is maybe 안녕하세요. Let me call myself out for this one. I actually do it quite often. And like when I first started learning Korean, I didn't really, sometimes I listen to the podcast that comes with, the Talk to Me in Korean podcast. I usually listen to it, but I don't really watch K-dramas that much. And I still wonder how people ask me how my speaking is so good, whereas I've never actually practiced listening. So please don't be like me. Invest time, because listening is so important. It's so important. Don't overlook it. It's so important. And also, whenever I'm watching a K-drama, I actually don't understand everything they are saying. Sometimes I'm like, okay, yes, I know what this person just said now. Okay, my brain is trying to like process it into English. And like, what did the person say? I heard it, but I don't know. Then the person says something else, and my brain leaves that one and then takes up, like, start thinking of what the next thing the person said. There's a difference between understanding something and just hearing something. If you hear it but you don't know what exactly it means, there are two different things. So you need to make sure that you're actually listening to it and you also understand what they're saying as you're listening to it. I personally love to listen to Talk to Me in Korean podcast, their Iyagi series. I'm currently at level 9 and I've been listening to them. It's been such a fun experience listening to them in the transcript so that you can go along. I always like to listen to the Korean conversation before reading the transcript, so that way I can know which words I grab quickly without even seeing the answers, and also the words I can see them in the note, but I'm like, when I heard them, I didn't know that I heard them, and that's because my brain is not yet used to hearing those words being said over and over again. So which is why it's important that you're actually listening to the podcast or the dialogue. Listen to it once or twice or 3 times, as much as you want to, and then once you're done, you can now check the transcripts. You can see where you made a mistake, which words you skipped, or which words you didn't hear properly. And the 6th one is to set out time for revision or to review. I personally don't like this. I personally don't like this step because it's not really interesting. You're not really having fun because you're just like doing what exactly you've done before. There is a need to revise. I actually don't really like this step because nobody really likes to like learn what you've learned before. It does not really fun. Like nobody really likes it, including me. Once a week or once in 2 weeks, try to make sure that I am revising, reading everything I've learned or going through everything I've learned, because that way it makes me understand it more. And sometimes I think I understand a grammar point, and then when I check it, I'm like, okay, so now there's a different understanding. I can use the word quickly, I can use the grammar points quickly. And if the foundation of a building is not laid properly, there is no way that the building is going to be like a successful one. So you need to always constantly review the things, because sometimes the future grammar points always has a connection with the previous grammar points. And if you do not understand what you were taught before, how would you even be able to understand what exactly you're talking about? Currently I am in level 9, but I'm not doing anything in level 9. I'm just revising level 7 of Talk to Me in Korean. And level 7 of Talk to Me in Korean, they have a particular lesson that dago eo, and dago eo changes to deo, and deo changes to dadon deo or danin deo. And those things are so linked together, and I didn't understand it. And it was taught in lesson 5, and there's something lesson 7 that I have to like revise again and again just to understand it. So you have to make sure that you're actually checking the parts you haven't or fully understood. Take out time to revise, because if you don't understand, there's no way you're going to understand the future one, if that makes sense. So take out time for revision. It's going to really help you, and it will prevent you from a lot of headaches, because when you're going further and you don't understand what you've read before, it's just like a waste of time. If you want to watch a video where I talk about my apps for learning Korean, for grammar, I have a video in the description box. Please check it out. It's going to really help you a lot. So we've come to the end of this video. I hope this video helped you and it gave you things to look out for, or how you should even go about the journey. If you have anything that you use for learning Korean, be sure to put them in the description box. I would also love to hear them, and I would also love to hear what you have to say. And I would love to see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.